Hello everyone, Catweazle here. Yes, I have returned from my sojourn with sun, sea and sand. And I'm back. What I'm going to do is, because I'd pretty much left the board and everything set up from when I went away, because it was right up just before I went on holiday, I'm just going to play another Eldritch horror. Decided to stick with the base game. Thought I may as well do all the base game goos. I've done Yogg, I've done Azathoth, so it was either Shub-Niggurath or Cthulhu, and there's been a couple of Shub-Niggurath playthroughs, so I thought I'd do Cthulhu. I actually haven't seen any Cthulhu ones, so which surprised me, but I dare say there's some out there somewhere and I just haven't seen them. So, if we're going to take Cthulhu on, let's have a look at him. And he's nasty. He's about the nastiest one out of the whole base set, I think. First bit of nastiness is his Doom track, which starts at 12, which is not very... that's just horrendous to start with. There he is, nice looking chap. Cthulhu, the madness from the sea. When an investigator moves onto a space containing an Eldritch token, he becomes delayed and loses one sanity. Nice. During a reckoning, each investigator on a sea space that does not contain an Eldritch token places an Eldritch token on his space, although he won't become delayed because he needs to move onto a space that contains an Eldritch token. So if he actually does this, he can move off. So when 3 mysteries have been solved, investigators win the game, which is the case for most of the goos. When Cthulhu awakens, flip this sheet and it's pretty much game over. We'll have a look at on the other side should that happen. Bit of flavour text. Eons ago, Cthulhu came from the stars with his star-spawn brethren. He now sleeps in the sunken city of Relay, waiting for the stars to be right to rise again. Okay, so we've got cultists. Only 1 toughness. Don't do a will test. Don't do a sort of horror check. Do have a strength test, no modifiers, and if you don't get a single success then you will take 1 damage. However, before resolving that strength test you will lose 1 sanity, so it's almost you automatically lose a sanity fighting a cultist. So if you were only on 1 sanity, for example, you would go insane before you could actually fight the cultist. There's some special setup rules. Set aside 1 Deep 1 monster and 1 Star Spawn monster, and all the Cthulhu special encounter cards. Well, Cthulhu special encounter cards, I've separated them already. And here's the Star Spawn, and here's the Deep one. They're both. The Star Spawn's particularly nasty, the Deep one's not so bad. But I imagine that there are some cards or something that may well mean we get a very nasty surprise with these 2. We're setting them aside, they're not going back into the box, so something very nasty could happen with those. We shall have to see. Mythos deck. So what we get there, there's 4 in stage 1, there's 4 in stage 2, and there's 7 in stage 3. So that means 15. We only get 15 in the Mythos deck. I think the previous ones we had 16, but this one's only got 15 in the Mythos deck. And there doesn't appear to be many green ones, especially not in stage 1, which seems pretty nasty to me. Okay, right, so I'll have to set that up. I'll do that. And we're not going to have a look on the back. I'll set up the Mythos deck. And I shall also find out who we're going to be playing with as investigators. So let's give them a quick shuffle. I'll just pull them off the bottom of this pile. They're all in here. If we've got one that we've played before, whoop, then what I'll do is I shall just carry on till we find somebody who we haven't played. So who's first? Oh, Skids O'Toole. I like Skids in Arkham. Hopefully he's just as good in Eldritch. Next up is Zoe. We've played Zoe. Patrice. Have we played Patrice? I don't think we have. Or it was during that Azathoth one where everybody was getting killed left, right and centre. Ursula, we played Ursula last game. Wilson, the handyman, you're up. And Diana Stanley, the redeemed cultist. Excellent. She's foxy. Okay. So those are the 4. We've got Skids, Wilson, Patrice and Diana. Funky. What I'll do now is I'll set those up and we'll come back and have a closer look at them in a second. Welcome back. And here we are with Patrice, for no better reason than her second name begins with H, and she is alphabetically first. Let's have a look at her. She starts in Sydney. So here she is. Very nice. Violinist. Let's have a look at her special action. You may spend 1 clue and 1 focus to improve 1 skill of your choice. Nice. Additionally, when you close a gate during an otherworld encounter, gain 1 clue and 1 focus, which obviously she would then be able to use on improving a skill of her choice. She has 5 health and 7 sanity. High sanity is good. Cthulhu seems to specialise in sending people bananas, so a high sanity will be very useful indeed. Let's have a look at her abilities. Law 3, so that's above average. Her influence is 2, okay. Observation is above average, very good. Strength at 1 is appalling, but her will's very good at 4, so hopefully she's got very little chance of going bananas on us. So let's have a look at the back. Obviously it starts in Sydney, Australia. She gets 1 banishment spell and 1 clue. So let's have a look at that now. Here's the clues. Just have a shake. And not looking, I'm just going to pick one out. So there we go, there's a clue. And she gets a banishment spell. So here we are. So we'll just keep picking. I have shuffled these, but I'll give him a rubbish shuffle and a cut. And then we shall come across the first banishment spell. Your flame, plumb the void, conjuration, blah blah blah. I get the feeling it's going to take ages. Banishment, there we go. So that's a banishment spell. I'll leave this deck out. I think Diana may have a spell as well. Okay, so that's her spell. And that's her clue. Let's read her story. Hailed as a musical prodigy from her youth, Patrice has performed for royalty in society's brightest minds all around the world. For years she thought her consciousness simply drifted as she played, but she's come to believe that an intelligence exists behind her visions. Somehow the notes form a bridge between her own mind and another. The more she grasps what her music exposes her to, the more afraid she becomes. After last night's concert in Sydney, she's finally decided to take action. Yeah, Patrice. Right-o, so that's our first player. She looks pretty good, she looks pretty well rounded. The strength's a bit of a problem. She's not much of a groin puncher, but she could be a very good spellcaster, I think. So we might look to get her to Buenos Aires or Arkham, pick up a few spells, and we might be able to improve her skills. Perhaps get a law up and turn her into a real humdinger of a spellcaster. And banishment, not a bad spell. We have seen it before, but I'll just read it again. Ritual, so we do it in the action phase. Test law +2. If you pass, discard 1 monster on the nearest space containing a gate with a toughness equal to or less than your test result, then flip this card. This could be very useful. Getting rid of nasties. So we like that. And she already starts with a clue. So that's excellent. So here's the clue she's got. Oh no, that must have fell out. That was the clue. There we go. So put that on her player. Right, and next up we shall look at Wilson Richards. Why not? And here we are with Wilson, and he's in Arkham. So let's take a little bit of a look at him. He's a mean looking mother. Tell you who he reminds me of. Do you remember Charlton Heston in the film A Touch of Evil with like Orson Welles? I think he looks a bit like him. What do you reckon? Charlton Heston? Maybe not. Okay, so Wilson Richards, the handyman. Let's have a look at his action. Gain one asset of your choice with value 1 from the reserve, or discard one card from the reserve and perform one additional action. Cool. We haven't got Charlie, so somebody who can go through assets a bit will be useful. What's his other action? When you or another investigator on your space spend a focus to re-roll a die, that investigator may re-roll up to 2 dice instead. I'll have to remember that. It's nothing a good plan and some hard work can't fix. That's right, Wilson. Well, he's got good health at 8, but that's a worry. His sanity at 4, up against Cthulhu. Yeah, nasty, nasty. Let's have a look at his abilities. Law at 1, well, he's certainly not a spellcaster. Influence 3, that's good. Observation 2, average. Strength 4, good. And his will's 3. So hopefully, if we could get his will up a bit, and just to sort of bolster him against any sanity loss, we may have our monster killer here. After all, he doesn't look like he messes about, does he? Right, let's have a look at the back. Obviously, he starts in Arkham, and he has a blunderbuss asset. We'll have a look at that in a minute. Okay, Wilson's a practical man. He goes where there's work. When it's gone, he moves on. Wilson finds that offering an honest deal gets him treated honestly. But since he took a job rebuilding a church in Arkham, he's had a hard time being honest with himself. People are being torn from their homes at night. Things that used to hide in the deepest pits of the earth have crawled to the surface. He cannot unsee all the things he's seen, but he can get to work on fixing the problem. That's right, Wilson, no messing. So let's have a look at the blunderbuss asset. Here it is, took it out. Cost of 2. Yes, looks pretty mean. Item weapon. When resolving a combat encounter, you may gain +2 strength. So that'd give him 6 strength, that's cool. If you do, each 6 you roll when resolving a strength test during the combat encounter counts as 2 successes. And each one negates 1 success. So, the Lord giveth, but the Lord taketh away. As long as we roll 6s and don't roll 1s, this is an excellent weapon. So, not bad, is he, Wilson? Bit of a groin puncher. Hopefully he'll be able to get rid of some of the not as tough monsters, especially not the ones that are really horrific. But perhaps he can go around, get rid of some of the lesser monsters and keep the board nice and clean for us. So that's Wilson Richards, the handyman. Next up, let's take a look at Diana Stanley. And here we are with Diana on Space 7, Panama. Okay, let's have a look at her. Right, there she is. Foxy. Diana Stanley, the redeemed cultist. Her action: if there is a cultist monster on your space, discard all monsters on your space, or move the cultist monster to any other space. Her other action is reduce the horror of monsters you encounter to 1. That's really good. That's really good against Cthulhu. As mentioned, like he really tries to get at your sanity. The Lodge is not as innocent as they pretend. I have learned nothing is ever as it seems, myself included. Well done, Diana. Well, she's got 7 health, which is very good, and 5 sanity, which isn't so bad. I would have preferred her sanity to be higher, but she can reduce the horror of monsters, so perhaps that's not so bad. Her law is excellent at 4. Her influence is okay at 2. Observation better than average at 3. Her strength is 3, which is good. It's only at her will that is pretty appalling. But as she can reduce the horror of monsters, she must be used to seeing them. Being a member of the Twilight Lodge, that perhaps isn't as bad as it might be. Okay, let's have a look. There we go, Central America, Space 7. She has an arcane manuscripts asset, which I've already picked out. We'll have a look at that in a sec, and then we'll pick out a wither spell. When Diana was initiated into the Order of the Silver Twilight, she believed it to be nothing more than a community organisation. Yeah, right. But as she has learned more of its true nature, she has become convinced that a growing evil threatens the world, and that the Silver Twilight will play a role in that threat. She believes her best chance to prevent this is to use her position to sabotage the organisation from within. Carl Sanford, the head of the Order, has recognised her skills and recently sent her to Panama for additional training. Woo! Right, so let's have a look at the arcane manuscript. Asset. Here it is. Cost of 1. Item, tome. Gain +1 law when resolving spell effects. So when she does a spell, as opposed to a normal law check, she will actually gain +1. Excellent stuff. Like the player area. Now we've got to pick out a wither spell, which is very strong, I believe. It's good for kicking monsters in the groin. So again, we'll just give it a rubbish shuffle. And then we'll have a cut, and then we shall pick the first wither spell we come across. Shriveling, Conjuration, Azure Flame. I shall speed this up. Wither, there's the first one. Okay. Let's have a look. Wither spell, an incantation. When resolving a combat encounter, you may test law. If you pass, gain +3 strength during that encounter. Then flip this card. Good stuff. Put that in the player area as well. So that's Diana. So again, she might be pretty good at fighting monsters. Her will's a bit of a worry, and her low sanity is a bit of a worry. If we can get something that'll stop her losing sanity, she could be an extremely strong character for us. Again, another spellcaster along with Patrice. Right, let's get to our final investigator, which is going to be Skids O'Toole. And here we are with Skids in Buenos Aires. Okay, let's have a look at him. There he is, looking smooth. Not bad for an ex-con. I can see why they put him in Buenos Aires. He looks like a man who likes to tango. Look at him. Right, Skids O'Toole, the ex-convict. His action. You may discard 1 item or trinket asset to gain 1 item or trinket asset of your choice from the reserve, with value equal to or less than 1 plus the value of the discarded asset. Not bad, not bad. Whenever you roll a 1 during a test, just a test, so that pretty much means any test, I think, you may re-roll that die. That could be extremely useful as well. I didn't get out of the joint just to watch the world end. Quite right, Skids. So he's got 6 health and 6 sanity, so he's pretty well rounded. That's good. We'll need that against Cthulhu. His law is 2, average. Influence 1, appalling. Observation is 3, that's good. His strength at 4, excellent. And his will at 3 is good. So it's only his influence that's a problem, but he does have this discard 1 item or trinket thing. So that may well help us out in trying to get him stuff. Okay, let's flip it over. Well, as we can see, he's already in Buenos Aires, Argentina. He gets the axe asset. We'll have a look at that in a bit. Skids got put away on 2 counts of bank robbery, but he never hurt anybody. His cellmate, Brad Hollins, killed 9 people. Hollins said that an alien creature made him do it. Over the years, Hollins said a lot of strange things about the Ancient Ones. He said that he needed to get to Argentina to stop them. Skids didn't give it much thought until that night that Hollins burst into flames. When Skids got paroled, he couldn't shake the thought of these Ancient Ones. Good old Skids. Right, so let's have a look at his axe asset. Here we are, the axe. Cost of 2. Item, weapon. Gain +2 strength during combat encounters, always handy. You may spend 2 sanity to re-roll any number of dice when resolving a strength test during a combat encounter. Not so good. Against Cthulhu, I cannot see myself spending 2 sanity to do anything. So that part of the weapon isn't really much use to us. But the top half's not bad. So that's the axe. Put that over in his player area. Right, so Skids looks a bit of a groin puncher. So we've got a couple of... it's quite well rounded. Him and Wilson look like monster killers, while the 2 ladies, they look like our spellcasters. Okay, right. I'll go and put this across at the player area, and then we'll have a look at the board and the setup. Okay, welcome back to the board. Just a few things to do. Let's give the gates a bit of a shuffle. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, 3. Whoa. There we go. Cut. Put that there. Created the Mythos deck, given everything a shuffle. I'll just do these small decks. Another little shuffle. So this is the artifact deck. And there we go. Over here, the unique asset deck. Keep that out. That was why I was keeping that out. I'll show you that in a minute. We've gone through this deck a couple of times, so again, just a quick mini shuffle and a quick cut. Put that over here, and obviously we've got to fill up the reserve. So let's see what we get. Again, let's give it a quick cut. So first up, Monster Hunter Ally. Gain +2 strength during combat encounters. A monster of your choice on your space loses 1 health. So you can do that in the action phase. Cool, but it costs 3. Next is Tear Gas. We had this last time. Item, weapon. You may discard this card to re-roll up to 2 dice when resolving a strength test during a combat encounter. In addition, reduce the monster's damage by 2 to a minimum of 1. Meh. Third up, the 38 Revolver. Gain +2 strength during combat encounters. Cost of 1. And 2, the Lucky Cigarette Case. Trinket. Once per round, you may add 1 to the result of 1 die when resolving a test. Right, so that is our asset reserve. Deck over there. Right, the reason I kept the unique asset out was because this is the prelude that I've picked. Mainly because we've got Diana Stanley. It's Unwilling Sacrifice. You didn't see the faces of the men who took you in the black of night, but you can see the face of another who shares your fate. Bound and gagged, the other victim lies helpless on the stone altar beside you. A black-robed figure prepares to drive a jewelled dagger into the victim's heart. With the cultist distracted, you think you could escape, but could you really do so in good conscience? Nay. As a blade comes down, adrenaline surges through your body and you slip from your restraints. You throw yourself between the robed assailant and his victim. The blade sinks into the flesh of your shoulder, missing your heart by mere inches. You wrench the dagger free from your wounded shoulder, and after subduing the cultist, you free your grateful companion. Those who did this to you will pay in kind. That much is certain. After resolving setup, each investigator may spend 2 health to gain 1 character unique asset. Cool. That's very good because it's 2 health, so it's not sanity, and we gain a character unique asset. Each investigator. Woohoo! That's what we like. So, first investigator is going to be Wilson. The reason for that is he's the one with the best influence. And, you know, let's try and buy stuff. He has got his special action as well, which may help. So, let's see how we go on. Right, so there we go. Do this. He's first, so it's mysterious idol. Another mysterious idol. Exploring the ruins. Professor Armitage. That's his ally. When you gain this card from the deck, gain 1 spell. So he gains 1 spell. Once per round, you may add 1 success to the test results when resolving a lore test as a part of a spell effect. We may swap this with one of the spellcasters. Probably Diana, because she's quite close to where Wilson is. So he gets Professor Armitage. And he also gets a spell. So good job we just shuffled that deck. So the spell is Clairvoyance, Incantation. During the encounter phase, you may test lore. If you pass, you may choose to encounter a clue as if you are on its space, ignoring the monsters on that space. Then flip this card. That'll be cool for getting clues. You will probably swap that as well. Good stuff. Right, so let's keep going through. Next would be Diana Stanley. Stone chest. Stone chest. Sealing the old ones. Prayer. Sealing the old ones for the greater good. Old journal. It's a good. Greater good. Mysterious idol. Tablet. Come on. Yeah. Esteban Herrero. Ally. Character. When you gain this card from the deck, improve your observation. Cool. Once per round during the action phase, you may trade possessions with each other investigator on your space. Cool. So that sounds like you don't actually spend an action to do that. Normally, trading spends an action. With Esteban, obviously he runs between you and does all that by the look of it. Oh look, bit of a monster chasing him there. Nasty. Right, so let's improve Diana's observation. That'll send her observation up to 4. From 3. Nice ally for Diana. Next up is Skids. He gets straight up Kid O'Brien. See, he doesn't mess about, does he? He looks like the kind of guy who knocks around with skids. Ally character. Once per round, you may add 1 success to your test result when resolving a strength test during a combat encounter. Reduce the damage of the monsters you encounter by 1 to a minimum of 1. Cool. Just a sort of ally, I think, for Skids. So that's pretty good. Just going around with his crew, kicking ass. Alright, old journal, dog sled. Well, it is an ally, but obviously I'm not going to take the dog sled because we haven't got the sideboard. So, same with that. Selling the old ones, sealing the old ones, courier run, purifying. Professor Rice. When you gain this card from the deck, gain 1 relic, unique asset. After resolving an expedition encounter or a Mystic Runes encounter, gain 1 clue. Cool, we get a relic. Cool! She gets a relic. Let's see what we get. Perhaps if I held it the right way up. The Vermis Mysterious. Item, tome. Test law. If you pass, you may spend 1 sanity to improve 1 skill of your choice. Don't particularly like spending sanity against Cthulhu. But, you know, she has got a high sanity, so might be worth it. And you don't have to discard it. You keep it. Cool. Okay, cool. So that's a nice little, not a bad little relic, I don't suppose. Right, I'll pick all these up. And I will reshuffle them. So that's not a bad prelude, I don't think. So that should help us, but what we're going to do is obviously everybody's got to lose 2 health. So I shall take 2 health off everybody, and I shall be back shortly. Okay, the state of play then means that Wilson is down to 5 health. Diana is down to 4 health. 5 health. Skids is down to 4 health. And the one in the worst position is Patrice. She's down to 3 health. But obviously we'll try and get that back up. We'll do a rest or something like that. Okay, right. So that's pretty much everything set up. Expedition is on Tunguska. We're at 12 on the Doom track. So what we've got to do is we have to pull the mystery and we have to pull the first mythos card. So here we are. What do we get first? We get a rumour. Brilliant. But, you know, we got quite a lot of blues in that first set of first stage of the mythos. So here we start with a Space 17. Where's Space 17? India. Mumbai. Somewhere like that. Clues. So we do get 2 clues. Don't look to the bottom. Right, what have we got? We have Space 13, which is right up here, the Arctic Ocean, and Space 8, which is the Bermuda Triangle by the look of it, which is quite good. We've got Diana there and Wilson there, so that's not too bad. Okay, let's have a look. When people see your jaundiced skin or hear your loud coughing fits, they avoid you like a leper. Without exception, the disease next brings fever and swollen red sores. Death follows in a few weeks. Don't like these tentacles, do you? Spreading sickness. Ongoing rumour. As an encounter, an investigator on Space 17 may consult the Bombay doctors. The more patients they treat, the closer they get to finding a cure. He may spend clues equal to the investigators to solve this rumour, so we need 4 clues. He may spend 1 fewer clue for each health token on this card. So, during the reckoning, place a health token on this card, then each investigator loses 1 health for each health token on this card. Phew, nasty. I wish I'd known that before I got those. Before I got those allies. Okay, so that's not too good. We need to get 4 clues. We need to get 4 clues fast. So we'll probably need to get somebody to London very, very quickly in order to start spawning clues. Patrice is about the nearest. Fortunately, she's already got a clue that she got in the setup phase. So hopefully she'll be able to get some more clues, and she'll be the one to get to India to solve that particular horrible thing. But we haven't got a gate, so that's not too bad. So we haven't got a gate or a monster to kick off. So we can concentrate, hopefully get these clues, see about getting somebody to London, about getting some of these assets to help us out, and hopefully we'll be able to get a bit of a march on old Cthulhu. But for how long? Well, we shall find out. Whoops! Nearly forgot the mystery, didn't I? Oh. So, here we are. Quick shuffle. Quick cut. Right, our first mystery is watching the stars. From the sunken city of Yei, Cthulhu rises to fulfill her destiny. Daughter of Cthulhu. This doesn't sound good. She will give birth to the reincarnation of her father should his body ever be destroyed. When this card enters play, spawn the Cthulhu epic monster on space 12. At the end of the mythos phase, if the Cthulhu epic monster has been defeated, solve this mystery. Oh, gold. Gold, help us. Cthulhu. Let's dig her out. Mind you, it makes a change from the bloody Windwalker. Oh, here she is. Right, let's have a look. There she is. Yes, looks real nice. Got a reckoning effect as well. Right, so will test -1. Bloody hell, if you don't get 4 successes, you lose sanity. Ugh. Strength -2. Got to get at least 2 successes. Reckoning, a deep one monster ambushes the nearest investigator. Oh, that's why we've set some deep one monsters out. Toughness is equal to the investigator's +2, so that's 6. Well, this is nasty. This is nasty, nasty. So, what a thing to start with. Right, so there's Cthulhu, and she's on space 12, which is down here. Not the Falkland Islands, South Georgia or somewhere like that. Right. Oh dear. Sea space as well. Could have done without that. Okay, so things are not looking too groovy now. But that's what comes from forgetting to turn over the mystery card. Okay, well, thanks everybody for watching. Thanks for all the comments. Thanks for all the views and all the subscriptions. As always, very much appreciated. This is once again Catweazle signing off. I hope to see you shortly for turn 1 of Eldritch Horror and Cthulhu. Until then, toodaloo.